Well, I want to welcome everyone here. Um, let's see, anything in particular you want to have me answer or have any questions about anything before we start here? There's just a few of us, so we can take our time a little bit. Anything at all that I can try to answer or you want me to talk about a little bit, I will, more than happy to.
I have a question.
Please.
I have a question about the virtue of suffering.
The virtue of suffering?
Yeah, is there such a thing? That's a big thing in the Catholic and other churches. I don't know if that came from where that. I mean, I know where it came from. It kind of came from that Christ suffered, and therefore we should suffer with him, or because he suffered, we're following him. But I know that we never did that particularly.
Right.
And but I read about it a lot in a lot of books, and you see it in a lot of movies where they, with the whips and so on and so forth. And I just wondered.
I think that some of that is churchiosity, and it's played upon in some church aspects to gain membership, to bring people in some respect. And I really don't believe, well, first of all, I want to say, before I say that, is that there's not necessarily a reason to purposely suffer, which that brings you into. A lot of people want to get into the martyrdoms and all these other aspects of it, and that's a misnomer. That's misconstrued in a large way. And I'm trying to be nice about all this. And
I appreciate that.
Yes. And so I don't believe that it's necessary to suffer. Even a lot of people that are born into the suffering, many, I'm not saying everyone, but many of them are not in pain. We're the ones who find the flaw and the pain in a lot of these things that happen, say, with children that are born into deformities or nonverbal skills or whatever, autism. They're not suffering as we construe the suffering, and we take it a step further and find flaw and fault in the world and make it worse than what it really is. That's just my perceptions of things.
Yeah.
And even when someone has a disease, quite often, not with everyone, but quite often, they're not suffering, but we are. And so we retain that misnomer to varying degrees. I don't believe that even if we had something wrong with us, we can make ourselves suffer, and we can find reason for suffering, or we can, as the Buddhists say, we can bend with it, and there's less suffering if we can come into it and learn to not only accept it, but not be resistant towards it. Then we can utilize it for acquiring a lot more self-understanding, and there's less suffering with it. Children that are born into a lot of deformity, they don't necessarily suffer. They're happy inside themselves. They're simple inside themselves, where we're the ones who go through the hell of it most often. And so, sure, there is suffering individualistically, and I'm not in denial of that. You know, and sometimes it's because the inability of medical science, or the flaws of medical science. At times, for the ones that the medical science that just goes along with protocol and doesn't find the correctness for a individual. So, and there's a lot of good doctors out there too, but at the same time, it's I don't believe that a lot of the suffering today is necessary. And that's where people like us come in, and we can, in some sense, be indifferent, not cold, but indifferent. And we can help the other person come back into that joy that they have in their life, even as simple as it is. We have that capacity to do that and be happy with them. And that helps them a lot too. And it helps the people around them as well. So that's my take on it, Charlotte.
No, well, as you were talking, I even thought, I wonder if it's easier to suffer than it is to believe in healers and spiritual healers, which may be why there are more doctors and medical scientists than there are healers who heal by the grace of God, as you and many others do,
Yeah.
and who are almost looked down upon, because it's much easier to just suffer and be in pain.
Yes. There's you remind me, not too long ago, I went to visit this fellow named Hunter in Arizona, and it was like overnight. Here he is, a 16 or 17-year-old, and overnight he developed MS, which is a combination of many diseases. It's not just MS, multiple sclerosis. It was just like an overnight thing, but it's a combination that built up to develop it overnight with this guy. And went to doctors, the best neurologists, and other forms of medical science, and they didn't know what to do with them. And so they brought him to me, and I worked with him. He was happy, and he was real happy. He wasn't hurting. He just all of a sudden lost all control of all of his limbs, and he didn't die like they thought he would after we had worked or everything, but he was happy within himself. But the family was suffering so dramatically instead of carrying a joy with him. And but he's still alive, and he's happy inside of himself. He doesn't have the ability to speak anymore, but he's a happy, light person, and that's his place, and that's what's important for him. Any case.
Yeah.
Lots of people, I've worked with, they're not necessarily suffering per se. Good question.
It's just such a big part of the history of the church, of the whole church.
Sure. The whole church. Yes.
This is suffering.
And that's the way it is. And then, you go to the tribal areas around the world, and the old ones, and, they honor these people, and they take care of them, and they're happy.
Yeah.
You find that quite often, not all the time, quite often. And so, and they love to take in other cultures of people that are hurting and sick, emotionally and mentally, and they take care of them, and they sometimes even heal, from their sicknesses. Here they are, strange peoples taking these people in, and they honor them totally.
Yeah.
Well, the cultures vary, and are our acceptances and rejections and everything else fall prey in that, I should say. So, in any case, anyone else have any questions or comments? Like, yes, please, Louis. Turn on your mic. I can't hear you without the mic, people.
I know, that was such an amateur move there. Okay, well, I have two questions. The first one is, now, when you do a healing, like say somebody has an illness and you do a healing for the symptoms, what about the cause of the illness?
Yes.
And if you don't treat the cause, will there be like a permanent or complete healing of the symptoms?
I find it important to look deep inside myself, if I can, to find a cause when I'm working with the symptoms. And I think it's most important that we wonder about, okay, God, what's causing this? What's the source of this? What's the reason for this? And quite often when I'm working with a person, what I'll do is say, if I have my hands on them, if they're in front of me or on Zoom or whatever, on telephone, I'll imagine working with them, imaging in action, not pretend, not fantasy, it's imagination, to image in action, that I'm working with them, and say if they're telling me about, their gut is hurting them, or their arm is hurting them. And sometimes I keep going deeper and deeper within myself. I don't work with just symptoms. I'll try to find a causal. And so sometimes I'll see, oh, this is from, when someone gave them a knuckle sandwich in 1995. And it really injured them, and it left an impression in them. And ever since then, over the years, they've developed a arm or a shoulder problem. And because they stored it within them, the shock trauma. So that's finding a cause as well. And if I can help them either to remember that or just remind them that that did happen, then it can begin to go away in a short period of time, or over time, or immediately. A lot of times there's the shock trauma that creates situations in a person's life. And that's what I try to go after. Other times I'll be talking with a person and trying to find out what the situation is, and they'll slip by saying something. And in the conversation or the questions that I'm asking them, something will come out in the conversation, and that's what there is to work with. And that will be the cause of what they're going to be telling me to work with. Something will slip out in their words. It might be an emotional thing. But if we can get that, if I can catch that, then, but you have to be objective and you have to be observant. That means non-attached and just observing. I think that's, the way that I work, that's the secret of it. And that's what allows that openness in the objectivity, in the observancy. That's what allows that small, still voice within to share with you of what we're picking up as intuition. The small, still voice speaks, and for whatever venue you're in, like mine is working with healing. And so it will share through my intuition, my inner teaching. That's what it's sharing with me. Does that make sense almost, Louis?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, that's good to know. I'm glad.
Yeah, but it takes really, I'm practiced at this stuff. So, but it's not always that I'll perceive things. Sometimes I'm even told when I'm looking deeper and deeper and deeper within, what is this? What is this? And Sometimes I'm told, none of your business, just keep working, you know? And I say, fine with me, boss, you're bigger than me. And so I keep working, and it's taken care of for me, for them. As long as there's an intercession there, and they're coming to you for help, even if they're goofing around or whatever, they're still coming to you for help. And so that's what is like the catalyst for me. And I feel hurt when other people are hurting. I don't hurt like they do by any means, but I feel sad inside or bad inside. And that's, in a sense, my catalyst, that form of compassion, in a sense. And that's what enables things to show and tell.
Well, my second question is, what about conditions that are beyond our human control? For example, say like on a soul level, our soul wants us to have a certain experience, for learning purposes, spiritual development. And how does the healing work in that kind of situation? I mean, because what I'm thinking is, if you do the healing, then you're preventing the person from having the lesson that they need to learn. Is that the case, or how do you deal with
So,
it?
in my understanding, and the way that I've always worked and understood, was that the soul presents to us what we're needed to go through. It transmits information to us of what we're going to be needing for experience of life. That's all it does. It doesn't have a consciousness other than that. It only shares with us what we're going through and what we're going to be going through, according to where we're at any given moment of our life. It changes its direction when we've completed something of what we've needed to go through in life. Then it presents something else to us. It's a carrier of information, of potential future information. And it's up to us to recognize it and to fulfill it. Then it'll present something else to us, always.
But so how does that work then? If I'm being given an experience and I'm not understanding why, or what is I have to learn, does that mean my physical symptom won't be healed until I get that, until I
No,
understand?
no. Oftentimes, and see, we're talking about two different things, really, because you're not going to get injured necessarily because that's what your soul wants. It led you into events, it brought up potentials for you, and we kind of fulfill it. We're the ones that have the free will to fulfill. So we acted out that, okay, now that we got into the situation, we can take a look at ourselves. We can stop ourselves and say, what did I do to get into this situation? Before, I fulfilled that injury or fulfilled this. Did I not eat correctly? Was I at a place that, I knew that I didn't have to go to, or something? We're the ones who fulfill it. That's not the soul. We just have the activity through our free will to follow through in whatever way, we create. Does that almost make sense?
Yeah, but I don't feel like it really that's the question. So we can still be healed even though we don't know the reason why
Yeah.
we're experiencing.
Sometimes what happens is that, um, say, if a healing should take place in your life, that might mean the symptoms or injury or disease might go away, or it might be arrested where it never goes any further now that you've um, come to a reckoning with it or you've been healed. It might mean it's been arrested as well, where it can't progress and you can live a fulfilling life from there on with that disease. I'll give you an example. I knew a woman that had was sent home to die, and she was a cancer surgeon, and she developed cancer and was told to go home and die. And I worked with her, and her cancer symptoms went away. She was full of life after that, and for several years, about 3 years, full of life. Then she took the advice from her friends who were oncologists as well, and she started listening to those people and going for tests and everything, and it showed her cancer was higher than anyone registered, that she still had it within her, but here she is full of life and functioning for 3 years. But then her friend said, oh my God, you have to, get chemo. And she asked me about it. I told her my opinion, because I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, or, that they have to, or do something or whatever. And so she listened to her friends, being a cancer surgeon herself. She listened to her friends and she started taking the chemo. And that immediately, within 6 weeks' time, I believe, she got what's called chemo brain, which another personality came in, and then she developed full-blown cancer. So she had a choice to follow along with the healing or to go through the death. Everything was fine prior to that, even though her counts were higher than anyone had ever counted. And these are cancer doctors. So we have choices. And also, but the mind of the world is so impregnated within us. We want to go along with the world at times. It comes into us to do that, the mind of fear, as I call it, the mass mind consciousness, as I refer to it. So, the soul didn't give her the cancer. She developed it through her life of anxiety, worry, and fear that unleashed the enzyme that encompasses the cancer cell that everyone has. Maybe at least 10,000 cells we have within us. Everyone has it. But we don't have to necessarily, I'm not saying this for everyone, because I know babies get cancer, are born with cancer too. But that was their fate. The fate of getting to know themselves, going through the earthly experience. That was like an initiation for them. It was a way for them to transition quickly now that they had the birthing experience. That's what they needed, and to work out other stuff from other times and places. That's what the soul brought to them.
So that's actually what I'm referring to, is that type of situation. So in that situation, it would be impossible to heal that baby, right? Because it wasn't in the scheme of things for the
What do you
visual
mean by
therapy.
healing, taking the cancer away? I've seen cancer go away, yes. According to the person's needs, not the person's wants.
Hmm.
What we want is usually different than what we need.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. So in that case, they'd be better off not healing the cancer in that baby whose mission was to just experience
No,
the birth and then
no,
pass
you,
on.
you still work with them. Still work with them. It might be just what they needed for a peace in the soul to overcome something, to work something out where they no longer need it in the next time. My premise is that, and what I've been taught and what I teach and what my experience is that we've been here hundreds of thousands of times, and we're going to be here hundreds of thousands of times more. See, otherwise, if we didn't have this evolution, we literally, as I've expressed many a time, and as my main teacher, his name was Paul, Father Paul, he always used to say, we'd be like monkeys swinging from trees if we didn't have evolution. If we're born a new soul, which is bull, then we're a soul, a cumulative soul that evolves. And that's why we can be taught in a couple of years' time to use a fork and to learn how to sing with various volumes and octaves. We have the ability to, we keep evolving, evolving, evolving. We can discriminate between colors. We can smell smells and know what they are. We're evolving. We have finesse. So all these things the soul brings with it according to what we need in each incarnation. But when someone has, say, a child is born with a disease, that's working something out that they need to have the experience of whatever it is, not for us to, hold up the fingers like this across or whatever, but they need that in order to have that experience. And then, or they might even need to express it coming in and experiencing the birthing experience. Maybe they needed that to work out everything. And that's the way they worked it out through getting the cancer. There's other times, I remember a child in a newborn who was going to die. The umbilical cord was wrapped around their neck and killing them. And the father called me to go to the hospital real quick, father and mother, and they were Spanish, Mexican. And they said, please, doctor's going to do surgery early in the morning. Can you come tonight to the hospital and work on the baby? So I put my hands inside the incubator with the gloves, and I worked on the child. And the child didn't need to have that traumatic surgical experience because everything unraveled. And so we do have a place according to what's correct for that being, other person. We do have a choice. They have a choice sometimes, oftentimes.
Could I ask a question that's
Sure,
in addition to
Lindsay.
that?
Hey, Lizzie. Sure.
Hi. I had, dialysis today.
Good.
and it definitely makes me feel better. But when I had told you when I was discovering this through the doctors, I just refused, and I just wouldn't do the dialysis until it was like an emergency.
Okay.
So is there a way to know what is there any way that
Yes.
a person
And
has
what,
it?
yes. And what we can
tell
do, all right. And what we can do when we first notice something that's not correct within us,
Mhm.
we have the capacity and the ability to learn to listen to ourselves, stop ourselves and listen to ourselves. And in listening to ourselves, it's stopping ourselves and saying, okay, what is this? What do I need to do really?
Mhm.
Then, if we can separate ourselves enough, that's when we're given guidance and direction. And that's what it takes. How indifferent can you become with yourself? What a
Well,
trick.
do you mean indifferent? How do you mean? Like separate yourself from the situation?
From the situation and your physical self.
Well, is that the same thing as denying it?
No, that's the opposite, is denying.
Oh, see, that's what I was doing.
Many people do, especially in this time and age. We're in that phase now that we're going through the denials versus the objective observation.
Because it's easier.
Well, it's easier, but it's more difficult because we're not taught that way because we're born into the world.
Yeah. Well, and the denial doesn't last. You can only do it for so long.
It's irrelevant to me. Yeah.
So, but when you come down with a disease, like I have kidney failure, and doctors look at it as permanent. I don't want to look at it as permanent.
Good, then go within yourself.
No, when you say that, do you mean meditate?
Yes, but when you meditate on something. When you contemplate on something. And when you're contemplating, for you, for this particular situation, I might suggest is, okay, first, what does it mean to be indifferent within myself? What does it mean to be objective within myself? Otherwise, you're just going to be running around the boat and having all these other thoughts and all these other judgments and all these other resistances and all these other thoughts. And there just, is, then we think about something else and then we forgot that we were contemplating or meditating.
So indifferent meaning divorce myself from my body.
No, love yourself and know that it's there, but that's all it is. And then find yourself in a place outside of yourself, looking at the situation. But you're still within yourself, but you're separating yourself from your real self.
And so I could heal my kidneys. Is that what you're saying? Could I?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have an opportunity to find out if you could, or become at peace with them where they can go through a change.
Oh.
And you'll go through a change with it.
Oh, yeah. It's all.
Okay.
It's a lifestyle change. Total.
I don't know what you mean by lifestyle. But
well, I have to do dialysis 3 days a week.
I understand. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. You'll have to find out once you do that, but you're not going to know until you do that.
Okay, until I concentrate on
focus. Yes. Focus, focus, learn how to focus. It's not going to happen the first time. It may not happen the 50th time you try.
Mhm.
It may happen the first time or the 50th time. I don't know. It's up to each individual. Any other questions or comments I can try to answer before we start? Please, Sam.
Mark, I just had a quick little comment. I wanted to introduce my friend Wendy. I've invited her to the Healing Circle, so I just wanted to introduce her.
Hey, Wendy Olson. Are you there? Turn on your mic, hon.
Hi, how are you? Sorry.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, I was excited that Sam, told me about it. I had to come late because I was busy earlier, but I'm
Oh,
glad
that's
to be
fine.
here.
There is no early or late to this. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
sure. I'm grateful that you're here. And I hope this stuff makes sense to you.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. That's my world.
Awesome. Love it.
Mhm.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
And I don't even know what my world is anymore. It doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
I'm so confused. So, all right. Wonderful. All right. Because I never know, I say, okay, boss, what are you going to do about this? And, God says, move over. Let me take over here. And I say, okay, you got it. Whether it be he, she, it, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't care. So, Miriam, Charlene, I knew Miriam, Charlene, for many, many years in the order, and she's awesome. Turn on your mic, hon. You got it on?
There, now I'm here. Yeah, I answered either one.
All right. No, I forgot. 1 second. Hold 1 second, Charlene.
Okay.
Every week we have the Healing Circle, unless it's announced that I'm not going to. And then I'm going by my notes here. Once a month is the gathering, and that'll be announced on the website as well. And that's where I answer a lot of questions, and then maybe work with a few healings. And then this October 4th through the 7th, it's an hour and a half a day for 4 days. We have the angelic workshop. And there I'll be, it'll be living with the angels, living with the angelics. And it's a real and powerful, it'll be a little esoteric in its understanding and how we can communicate with them and live with them and how they can communicate with us, how they do. And it'll be a dynamic workshop. And just about everyone, thank God, says that the workshops are just mind-blowing for them. So please go to the website if you want to sign up for that. Lynn's going to be putting the information up on the website soon. I don't know if it's up there yet, but it will be up, and that's October 4th through 7th is coming up not too long from now. Then September, next Friday, I have a healing circle at Unity in Denver, Unity Spiritual Center in Denver. And then Saturday, I have a workshop, a one-day workshop on spiritual healing, and then a couple days of appointments after that. So I'll be in Denver for about 4 or 5 days. And please go to the website also, and that'll be announced on the website if it isn't already. And hopefully it is. I think it is. Lynn mentioned that it was. And on the website also is Gifting from the Heart. Please feel free. It's good for you. It's good for your direction of life. It helps you to fill as you do gift. Very important in your life. And that's used for people that can't afford the full appointment or the workshops or whatever. And the other thing is I'll mention real briefly is that I do see people by appointment here. I have an office and right outside of Boulder area. And it's a nice little place, old, but nice. And then I also see people, I have appointments on Zoom that are just effective, on telephone that are just effective. and also on FaceTime that are just effective. Or I can just pray for people. But please, don't forget that. All right, my friend Charlene, please talk to me.
My shoulder is much better, but still
Okay,
could use some work. I mean, it's a process. I think I could be wrong.
and that's your right shoulder?
Yes, that's the right. Well, actually, both shoulders, but the right shoulder is the worst.
Okay,
The left shoulder is just getting a workout because the right shoulder is not getting a workout. But the right shoulder is definitely much improved unless I overdo it. But it could use some work
okay,
again.
you got it. You got it.
If you and your boss would, please.
All right shoulder, okay. And people may sense something happening. Some people, not everyone. The ones that do need to. The ones that don't need to. No right or wrong in the mind of God, as I always say. There we go. I'm actually feeling it move inside. Now, Charlene, do me a favor and move it a little bit, real gently, not to hurt yourself or anything. Tell me if you notice any difference at all, or it's worse or better, the same.
Well, it's hard to tell right now because I've been sitting still for a long time.
Sure.
But it's
I know it feels a lot.
the back is better. The front is still
Okay.
sore.
Let me work a little bit with that, the front area. And I keep, ever since I started working with you, I keep getting that, this is my own perception, is that resistance exercise, whatever that means, exercises with resistance, like push and someone else pushing you.
Yeah.
I felt a little flow in there. Now tell me if you.
Yeah, I felt, oh, that is better. And I felt warmth. And
Like
the boss knows wherewith he speaks, resistant to many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the resistance exercise, if you go to a therapist or something like that.
Yeah, I do. I do PT once a week.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And that's what's going to quicken that now.
Yeah.
Now
yeah,
that
it has helped, but you've helped more complete it better.
Awesome. Awesome, my dear.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful.
And it doesn't grind so much like when the arthritis. They told me the arthritis was really bad as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the movement's better. It's sore. It's not like sharp pains anymore,
Good.
which is what it was. It's just sore.
Okay.
It gets better when I sat still for so long that it just kind of, when you sit with anything, when you're
Yes.
old, it just kind of gets,
All right.
sore.
Cool.
But thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's better.
Ruth, you're right underneath Charlene.
Okay. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
I've been away for about a month, so we're on a bicycle trip. Anyway, since we're back, I've been having problems with blood pressure and
With what?
pardon me,
You've had problems with what?
blood pressure.
Oh, okay.
When I sleep at night, if I wake up, I always wake up to pee in the middle of the night, and when I get back into the bed, I can hear my heart beating in my ears and in my neck, like in my head.
Uh-huh.
It's just the weirdest thing. And then I get into fear, like, oh my God, what's going on? And so I finally went to a doctor, and they did the initial intake and they did blood work, and
Okay.
they can't find anything wrong.
Right. Now,
Everything-
what?
Right.
Okay. All right. What I'd like
And-
to suggest, go ahead. You finished. I'm sorry.
The other suggestion is it's dehydration, because I've been exercising like a fiend for I've been on a bicycle trip. So I've been working on drinking more, and I've also
Okay.
switched half of my magnesium to the evening instead of the day. So
Okay.
I mean,
All right. Now,
and
one
also
thing.
fell today. I tripped on something on the lawn, landed on my left butt.
Which do you want me to work with, hon?
The blood pressure.
Okay. All righty. So, one thing that I want to suggest is when you experience a blood pressure, shift your neck around a little bit lower in the bed and see if that doesn't dissipate it. And I'm not saying this as a therapist or anything like that, because I know nothing about that stuff. But
You mean go off the pillow? Is that what you
yes,
mean?
yeah.
Oh. Huh.
Then, what was the other thing? God, I lost it. The other thing is to, when you're experiencing the blood pressure in the head, follow it without resisting it, without the worry.
Yeah.
Follow it and wonder about it. And you may feel like it's going to build so much, it's going to exacerbate and build and build and build so much that your head's going to explode. But keep following it, even past that. And then you'll see like there's a flow to it. It'll like balance or even out.
You know, what I did once is I went down in the middle of the night and took my blood pressure, and it was fairly normal.
I'm sure.
It's like,
Okay.
so
Yeah, I'm just
all
sharing
that
with you
fear
what,
for nothing.
yeah, I'm just sharing you with you what to do.
Follow the flow.
That's,
Okay.
yeah, follow the flow of it. It may feel like your head's going to blow up because it's filling up so much, but follow it without the resistance.
Okay.
And then what you'll notice a flow to it. So let me work with what your experience is as blood pressure.
Mhm.
And keep in mind that when you worry about it, you're resisting it.
Yeah. Yep.
There we go. Let's see what happens, hon.
Thank you.
All right, Sam.
Hi, Mark. I just wanted to ask you to help me with my trouble sleeping that I've been having. I don't know if you remember last week, but I told you that I, keep waking up at 3 a.m. and then have trouble going back to sleep. But since last week, now what's happening is I'm waking up every 2 hours. So I'm not sure which is better. And I have,
I'm so sorry. It was a
So it feels
misdirected
like-
prayer.
It feels like something has shifted, but like I said, I don't know if it's any better. I'm just so tired. Like right now I'm at work
Yes.
and I'm exhausted.
All righty. Let's see if we can change that to every hour. No, I'm kidding.
Mark.
See, you're so sensitive. It's incredible. And but the sensitivity is good at the same time. And instead of going to bed for the purpose of sleeping, go to bed, or even when you wake up, you can do this anytime, even when you wake up in the middle of the night or something like that, go in with the intent of only resting, not
Okay.
for the purpose of going to sleep.
Okay.
And then let your body rest and be conscious of that. Learn to be conscious of it more and more and more. Just resting. Don't
Okay.
worry about the sleep.
Okay. I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, definitely, definitely. You got it, my dear. Lewis, please, anything in particular I can try to work with you with here?
Yes, I have this condition called PVCs in my heart, extra
Yes.
heartbeats, and you worked on it a little bit last time, and it did ease the palpitations in my
Good.
heart because my heart is kind of misfiring.
Okay.
So I could feel my heart beating, and I feel these kind of
All
palpitations.
righty.
But it felt better, and I felt like really kind of relaxed for a change. But it seems like it's kind of reoccurred, so I'm still dealing with that. So.
Okay. Let's see what we can help this here. Good things that I'm working with. I love this stuff. All right, let's see if that doesn't help. Let's see if that doesn't help. All righty. Lindsay, any particular thing you'd like me to work with here, hon? Are you there, Lindsay? All right. She'll be back in a minute. Now, there's one person here real quick I wanted to get in. And this is from my friend in Arizona. I signed up for the healing circle tonight online, but it looks like I might be able to get both my booster shot and my flu shot right now, so I'm heading out before they change their mind. Please pray for me to be healthy tomorrow, because sometimes I feel like crap after I get vaccinations. Okay, and I have to get my, okay, there. So let me do this. You just drink a hell of a lot of water tomorrow when you hear the replay of this, Lindsay. All right, good. The other person, not Lindsay, the other person. She knows who I'm talking about. All right. Lindsay Novak, hey. Anything
Yeah,
particular you'd
and
like me to work with, please? Name one thing, real
something
briefly.
something new. My ears, my hearing,
Okay,
my head isn't. They're not ringing, but they feel stuffed, like I'm hearing an ocean.
okay. No more needed to be said. You got it, my dear. Let's see what happens.
Okay, I
Right.
heard it too. I heard it going through your microphone.
Cool. Can anyone else hear the high pitched sound or high frequency or birds chirping? You can hear that?
Yep.
That's what I call spirit moving through. And it just started a few months ago online. We're never used to. It's pretty cool. All righty. Let me see here. Wendy. Hey, Wendy. Any one thing in particular you'd like me to work with, my dear?
Yes, I'm actually having a problem with my spine. I had major surgery 2.5 years ago,
Okay.
and they fixed a scoliosis thing that I had in some vertebrae, and then they repositioned and attached my upper spine to my lower.
Okay.
And within a week after that attachment, because it was attached with 2 screws in 2 places along the
Okay.
spine to hold it, one of the screws came loose. And what's happened in the last like 2 months, something must have happened further with that, because my upper spine is torquing. And I actually had to travel back to Chicago to see my massage therapist so my chiropractor in New York could work with it, because my upper spine is going to
Yes,
the right.
all right. So, all right. Stop all that. Tell me something. Is the screw still unwinding in there, becoming
I
loose?
think it may have unwound one of the screws. One screw is
Okay,
attached, but I
so
think
what I'm suggesting is that you may need to get it repositioned and fixed. And that's a arthroscopic procedure, I would think, you know.
I don't know, because I just,
All right.
you know, I
All right, but
knew.
you don't want to let something like a chiropractor adjust it or anything like that, because that's going to loosen it even more. And a massage therapist working that specific area can also damage the tissue and the bone around there. Just, you know, my personal take on that, what I perceive. So what I'll do, you may feel something happening in your spine.
Mhm.
Okay. And I just want you to relax and be conscious of your spinal column.
Mhm.
There. And most of the log jam is coming from right around here. I don't know if you can see it.
I felt you working there.
And that's, so what we did was we brought a lot of the life force flowing through it a little bit more. Or we brought life force flowing through it a little bit more, and hopefully that will decrease some of the discomforts. But this is where medical science comes in, and they're useful. Now that you've had the procedure done, they need to fix that screw, or else it can cause damage, if that makes sense.
It does, but the doctor said that the screw, he wasn't going to fix it because he said the spine would grow around it. This happened right after, and he
Okay.
noticed, yeah, that's what he
All right,
said.
so, and how long has it been since he said that?
2 years.
Okay,
Oh.
yeah, I would, say, hey, look, it hasn't grown around it yet.
Yeah, it's going to involve, a visit
Okay.
and an MRI.
So hopefully what we just did was helped you either immediately or in the very near future, like today, tomorrow, or a week or so, that you'll see something shifts in the discomforts of that. Not saying that you shouldn't get the procedures fixed or whatever, or even going to another doctor or whatever.
Okay, thank you.
You rock.
Yeah.
You rock. And you hopefully this will bring you relief in your life to be able to do those things without a lot of discomfort. All right, Lynn, please. Anything in particular? Are you there, Lynn? Maybe she is. My nose, or just a blessing. Okay. I'll give you my nose. Okay. There'll be less of a pressure now, Lynn, from the injury. So please do keep me updated. Yeah, I really appreciate it. All right, everyone. I'm so glad you're here, and that you allowed me to work with you.
And Mark, my
Yeah.
ears are all better. They're clear. They're clear. No ocean.
Awesome. No, it's not ocean. It's Lake Michigan you live next to.
Well, maybe it'll be ocean, but not in my ears.
All right.
No, it's gone. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And if it should come back in little increments,
Uh-huh.
imagine my hands, these two fingers working on your ears.
Okay.
A lot of people do that.
That's 4 fingers, Mark.
That's 4 fingers. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And don't forget to go to the
Thank you.
website. And if you want to, do gifting, great. That'd be awesome. And it's good for the soul.
But
All right.
your appointments are really good too.
Yes. Yes. Enjoy. All right, and this is just, these are quickie healings, so understand. All right, blessings, everyone. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone here. Thank you so much.
Have a
You
wonderful
too.
night.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Bye.
But all, God bless.
Bye.
Bye.